Hello, welcome to AdaShape 0.1.6 Alpha Demo. In this version, we've introduced a totally new modeling feature called Shape. We have the Shape editor in this right-hand corner, so this is not a cube, this is a shape. It's similar to what you would get from importing an SVG previously. In the previous version, we called these extrusions. Now, they're called shapes. We have the option of converting this into a shell body, and we can add edge treatments to the top and bottom edges, giving us these nice shapes over here. On the right-hand corner, we have the switch for the two presentation types. The first is solid body, which treats the entire part as a solid. On the right-hand side, we have the buffered form, which generates walls. These are editable. We can start the shape editor from the button over there, and then edit in a similar environment as you would edit vector graphics. To make the editing experience in this 2D view slightly calmer, you need to manually update the 3D scene by clicking the Update button. We can add rounding over here, and we get this nice round shape. Let's continue editing. We can also use lines. You can add a line here, and it becomes this wall since we had the buffered mode open. This line type presentation also allows us to create quite quickly these more complex hook type shapes. This is not a closed shape, it's just 3 lines, and you can see it's turned into this hook. This is the polygon tool. You can use it to create either lines or solid forms. Now, the cool thing about the polygon tool is that we also have the edge treatment option over here, which allows us to create smooth, round shapes. Let's create an ellipse, and it becomes an ellipse over there. Let's turn the presentation mode back to solid so I can show you the polygon more extensively. This should be one of the fastest ways you've ever experienced to create smooth shapes. So right now we have this quite harsh outline. Let me move the 3D view a bit so you can see better. Alright, since we have the treatment option, we can smooth things out. We have 3 treatment options. First is radius, which constrains the radius of a circle that we fit into these corners. The second option is distance. It looks slightly different and controls the distance along the line where we apply these treatments. And the third is full. Maybe the coolest one. The full option allows us to extend the roundings as much as the basic shape permits. So this is now very, very smooth. Let's see what we can do next. We have this hook shape here. This is now about 2 centimeters tall, or roughly 1 inch. Let's add edge treatments here. This is starting to look like a credible hook. What we can do now is add a hole directly over here. This is our placement tool, and we can just put a normal cylinder there. You could also use shapes, but the old geometries still have their purpose, and this is one of them, a fast way of generating holes of a fixed radius. The radius of this cylinder is 0.3 centimeters, so it's about half a centimeter wide, which is fine for our experimentation here.
Realistic shape, and if you want to make those edges smoother, in this case, we can use a cone to do that. That's quite fast. We just generate a cone over here, move it a bit closer, and do a Boolean operation. The shapes are compatible with the same Boolean operations as the parts before. Let me introduce the other shapes. Let's see what else we can do. I'm creating a new shape. Let's go to Edit mode. We also have the option to use Boolean cuts. Let's make this into an interesting part first. It's about 5 centimeters or 2 inches. We can use the Circle tool over here. The difference between a circle and an ellipse is that the circle is always guaranteed to be circular, which is very important if you want to make mechanisms. The ellipse is a more free-form tool. In this case, we want a circular hole. I'm going to place this circle over here, then press Ctrl-C to copy and Ctrl-Shift-V to paste in place. Now I'm going to click Mirror, so we get a nice symmetric pairing of these round holes. We can join them into a group or do a Boolean union operation. Afterwards, we can do a Boolean operation on this 2D shape profile. Now this is starting to look like a mechanical part. The size is so small that we start to see those edges because of our size-dependent mesh resolution. But we can just increase the resolution. Now it's nice and smooth. This is where the edge treatments really start to shine. As it is, it looks nice and aesthetic, but what takes it to the next level is applying smooth edge treatments. This is already starting to look like a nice aesthetic mechanical part. It's very pleasing to the eye, and if you print this out, it looks like a really nice mechanical widget. Let's put it to the side. Next, let's continue showing you what the shapes can do. We also have a traditional spline tool. If you're familiar with vector graphics applications, this might be called a pen tool. This is a different beast from the pure polygon because we get these nice smooth curves at the corner points. The technical term for these smooth curves is a Bezier spline. But, as a user, you shouldn't need to care unless you're really into technical details. The software should just work for you. This allows us to create smooth shapes more efficiently. What I'm doing here is taking sharp corners and converting them into rounded ones. This is a slightly more intricate action than what's available with the polygon. It allows us to leave some corners sharp, like this one, giving the user more control. Let's make it slightly larger so you can see it better. I'll grab this handle and press Ctrl so it remains centered, and we get this nice symmetric scaling. All of the shapes you generate in the Shape Editor are also compatible with all of the styling options.
The thing that will limit your options is the shape of the curve. Sometimes, if we create something really complex, you'll get results where you won't be able to apply edge treatments very well. Let's take this polyline and do something more intricate. Let's add edge treatments as well, so it becomes this rounded, blobby shape. In this case, if we try to apply the edge treatments, okay, we actually do get some edge treatments. My guess was that this nook over here would limit our options, but we actually get a nice shape. So that's our second part. Here is our spline. We can also edit the edge treatments. Let's add a treatment to the top edge. The treatment can also be rounded, giving us this nice heart shape. The options on the right bottom side are styling options for the corners of the walled shape. These may allow you to create a bit more smoothing over there.